Hi everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today's video is going to be about some of the tips that I'll be suggesting you guys about how to do well in medical school. If you're new to my channel, then let me introduce myself. I'm Srishti Sharma. I'm an Mbbs intern and this video is about the tips that helped me through my journey in medical school. So let's go. So the first thing that I want to suggest you guys is standard books. Like, you need to pick your resources well. You need to be really precise about from where you are studying the particular topic from. I would suggest you guys standard books. Your professors must also suggest you the same, but let's face it, how many of us actually read them? But I would still suggest you guys to read those, or at least keep them as reference, because they're going to really help you build your concepts and make your base stronger. For example, I used Robbins for patho, and that really helped me understand the pathogenesis of the disease as well than, okay, let's face it, I've seen other people who have used like different books and not the standard one, and our understanding of the concept is really different. Like, they have studied the same time, I've studied the same time, our intelligence level is almost the same, but still you can clearly see the difference in marks, if you want to say, or the understanding of the concept really well. Like, there is a difference between the students who study standard books and the ones who prefer some other book. Okay, so having said that, I would want you guys to read those. If you're somebody who can't study the standard books for whatever reason, like it doesn't suit you, it's taking a lot of time, you can't relate to it and stuff like that, and you chose some other books, then at least keep it as a reference book, so that whenever you feel like you are not understanding a particular topic from the book that you're using, you can go to that standard book and study it from there, because that is really going to like build your knowledge. And what you can do is that some of the books that I have not used, like some of the books that are not standard books and that I have used, I have always kept a standard book of the same subject with me, and whenever there's some topic that I feel like I'm not understanding from this book, I go to that book, I collect all the information, understand it, then write it down in like stick-ons and stuff, and stick it in the book that I'm using, so that later on when I'll study, I have it ready with me in the same book and I don't have to go to that book again and again. So like that really helped me along the way, and it also improved my concept. So the first point is very important. You have to select your resources, and also don't use too many resources. Like, you're not supposed to use like 2, 3, 4 books. Like, that only creates a lot of burden. So I would want you to keep like one book that you study, and the other one that will be your reference book that you go to whenever you want a better understanding of a concept. That will work. Or if you can and study from the standard book, then that's great as well. See, what is working for somebody else, it's not necessary that it will work for you. So you are the only one that has to select whatever you want to do. You can take suggestions from your seniors, from your teachers and stuff, but at the end of the day, you are the one who knows best what will work for you, so you should be the one to choose what works for you. So one more reason to prefer standard books is that it helps you build your base, and you can create a better understanding of clinics from the standard books than from any other book that you're using. The second thing that I want to suggest you guys is consistency. So when I say consistency, I don't mean like you have to study like 15-20 hours every day or like 10 hours every day. Even if you give 2 hours every day, that is still enough. Like, you see, I know we are in medical school and we have to study more, but I'm talking about the days when you don't want to study at all, when like you are tired, or when it has been a long time and you're not studying, or you're not in the mood to study. So you can study just for like 45 minutes or 1 hour, 2 hour max, and just call it a day. But don't skip it, because if you study daily, then that is going to help you in the long run. And when your exams are going to come, like when it's terminal or your PCT or PU or university or whatever, you don't have to mug up stuff, or you don't have a lot of stuff that is remaining pending, or a lot of stuff that you don't know anything about. So what you guys can do, that you can study whatever the topic they're teaching in class that day. You can just come back to the hostel, your home or whatever, and you can just pick it up and like revise it off, obviously after taking rest and after like chilling and everything. Then you can, I'm not telling you guys to just come home and like open your books and go crazy. No, you can like come home, take rest, chill for a while after waking up, and then study. See, what I used to do was I used to study like 2 hours before dinner and 2 hours after dinner daily, and like that give me a study time of like 4 hours, and then I used to go to sleep. Obviously when there were exams, then the study schedule was extremely different, and I even used to wake up like at 4 o'clock in the morning, so that was like really different. But when you're studying daily, like when your lectures are going on and stuff, then you can just come see. Teacher suggests us that be prepared for the lectures that is going to be taught in the class, but we know that amount of syllabus, like they take one lecture and they teach us like 2 and 3 chapters, or like sometimes even a whole unit. So we have to like study all of that, and we don't know anything about that except the stuff that they have taught us. So it takes time, I get that. So obviously they're going to suggest us to study and come prepared for the class that they're going to teach the next day, and also we have to prepare for the class that they taught that same day. So because it's about the repetition memory, like we the number of times we're going to repeat the stuff that they are teaching us, the more we'll memorize it. So that is what we have to do, and that is what happens. So we'll just come back home, and then like after sleeping and everything, the whole schedule, and then just open your books and study the topics that they are teaching you. And at the end of the week, what you can do is like if you want to go out on Sundays, and that is fine, but what you can do is the stuff that is remaining, the stuff that they have taught and you haven't like finished it or gotten the time for finishing it throughout the week, because that happens with all of us. Like especially if you're in medical school, we most of our stuff gets left behind. Like even if we are like studying daily and trying to read all the lectures that are happening in the college, we still something gets left behind. Still there is something that you have to read and study for, and so that you can do at the end of the week. And even if you're behind the schedule, don't panic, just start somewhere at least and you'll get there. So yeah, consistency is the key. If you don't study consistently, then it's going to be a big blunder for you. You won't be able to complete. See, it's a massive syllabus. You won't be able to complete it like just before, a few days before exam, even a week before exam. You have to study something daily, or else you won't get there if you want to do well in like medical school. I'm saying it again and again because that's the truth. Like if you want to just chill and like have a fun time, well, it's up to you, it's your life. The third thing that I want to suggest you guys is understand the concepts well. So whatever your teachers are teaching you in the lectures, whatever you're learning in demo, DH, practicals, whatever is happening, you have to understand well. Like whatever they're teaching, you can just go and learn something. And even if like you don't get, because there are times when teacher used to teach us and we like don't understand anything. Like there has been a time when I used to like, and I was like, what is he even talking about? But when you go back, open your books and see, then you like understand, okay, this is what he was talking about. That is how it happens. I would still suggest you to understand the concepts well. Like whatever they are teaching, pay attention, because especially it happens in first year, you don't understand a thing if you like don't pay attention to the lectures. It used to happen with me. Like if I miss any of, especially with anatomy, if I miss like any of the lectures, or if I let me just say, if I was asleep in class, obviously I was awake, but you know, sometimes it happens, you are lost in your mind. So if that happens and like I miss a particular topic that the professor is teaching, and when I come back and like open my books and stuff, and I was like, I'm completely blank. That is what is happening. So that happens with a lot of subjects, especially with anatomy. So like even physio, like a lot of subjects that happens with, sometimes even pharma and path you can understand, but yeah, it can happen with that as well. So pay attention to the classes, because that is really important. And especially when you reach like till 4th year, then a lot of your base has already been set up, like your anatomy, physio, pharma, patho, all of that you'll find in medicine, and even in surgery. If you're good in like anatomy, that is going to work really well for you. So your basic concepts that are being taught in the 1st and 2nd year should be amazingly clear. Only then you can be like really good in 4th year subjects, or else you have to like study everything in the 4th year, and that is going to be really difficult, because 4th year syllabus is already too much and you don't have enough time to even complete that. And on top of that, if you're not well versed with like 1st and 2nd year, then it's going to be a major problem for you. So I would suggest you guys to like be really vigilant and really alert from your 1st and 2nd year itself. So be well versed with your concepts, build your concepts really well, because that is what is going to create a base, and that is exactly what is going to help you in future clinical subjects like surgery, medicine, pedia and stuff. Like that is really important for you to understand obs and gynae, ENT, ophtha, like everything. And that is the 1st and 2nd year, the base. So be well versed, pay attention to the lectures, pay attention to what is happening in demo, DH, practicals. Everything is important, because you need to be like really well versed with it. At least, I'm not saying, see, that even if you're like a really good student, you can't know everything. That is not at all possible, and I'm not telling you to even do that. You would break down so fast. So like don't go thinking that I'm going to learn or I'm going to know everything. That is not possible. If you create like a weird hectic schedule, then you'll break down really fast. This is a slow and steady wins the race kind of a thing, especially in medical school. Like you have to be consistent, you have to understand concepts well, you have to give time for yourself as well, otherwise it's going to be a real burden for you. And at the same time, enjoy this, because this is not going to come again, and this will be like the best time of your life. So do that as well. Okay. The 4th thing that I want to suggest you guys is don't hesitate to ask questions. At times we don't understand a lot of stuff, and we are like scared and thinking that if we'll ask, obviously our friends will laugh, or the whole class will laugh, or sometimes even the teacher laughs. So yeah, but still go ahead and ask it, because if you don't ask now, you won't ask later and you won't understand later, and then it's going to be a problem. Because what happens is, you can at the same time you can go and find the answer yourself. So you need to do that, like you need to ask, and if the teacher wants, then they'll directly answer you in the class itself. And if you're like a little skeptical, then you can always go and ask them after the lecture, or in the department, or whatever suits you and the professor that is in your college. Go ahead and like ask it, clear your doubts, because if your doubts will remain, then it's going to create a problem for you later on. Because if you learn something that is wrong, and you'll keep on learning the same thing, or understanding the same thing again and again, then it's going to create a big blunder for you at some point. So you have to understand it well, you have to clear your concepts. So don't be scared to ask questions, just ask them, don't be scared. The 5th thing that I want to suggest you guys is annotate your books really well, because that is what is going to create or reduce your revision time during your exams, or when you're like reading it or learning it again. So I was talking about annotating. So what I do is like if I have studied a paragraph and stuff, and if I've understood it, and it's like a really long thing and it's getting really hectic for me if I am going to repeat it again and again, so I could just create like a flow chart, or write the keywords about what is exactly in that paragraph, so that whenever the next time I come along and study it, I can just study it from there, or I can just look at the flow chart and like I can move on. Because especially during exams, it happens you don't have time, you have a lot of stuff to prepare and you don't have time at all. So if you have like written stuff along the lines of the books, then you can just look at it and like move on. Because I used to do that a lot, and that worked really well for me. I have seen people like make notes and stuff, but I personally feel like notes take a lot of time to make. Like you keep on making them, but that leaves little time for you to like read it again or to revise it, because notes will be just a waste if you don't revise it, or if you don't read those, then it's going to be a problem. So if you like create notes and get enough time to read them, only then do that, if that works well for you. For me personally, I like write it in the book, I post stick-ons on it, I use the highlighter, and especially we know like it feels like I am supposed to highlight the whole book. My friend used to say that next time she's going to buy a highlighted book, she actually did buy it, a second-hand one which was already highlighted. So yeah, so you can do that, but obviously whatever like works best for you, you do that. Like if you feel like notes are good for you, then go ahead and do it. But for me personally, I used to like annotate in my book, and then next time I used to study. That used to give me like more time to understand it, more time to revise it. I don't waste my time on like writing everything down and not even getting enough time to read it, because they are going to be only helpful if I read it again. And the notes that I used to create were in the class. Only like the notes that help me remember what happened in the lecture, you know. So like I used to like pay attention, write everything down in short forms and stuff, and I whenever I like used to come back from college, I open that notebook where I've written everything down, and I use my book along with it, and I study from the book and whatever like concepts they have taught in class, and I feel like I should know this, so I used to study along that. And if there's something extra that the teacher has told me and that is not in my book, then I can refer to some other books, or I can, if I've written like that the same thing in the notes, then I used to pick that up, like I used to write it on a stick-on and stuff and paste it in the book, so that next time I don't have to like open this notebook or look somewhere else. I can just study from the same book and like keep all my resources clumped together in one place, so that it reduces my time to revise the next time. That really helped me along in the exam, especially because what happens is that you don't have enough time. If you keep on opening this book, that book, it creates a mess. So I use only one book, and like I used to keep on revising from that and turning pages, and you always come across something that you forgot to read, especially if you're like studying from a book. So that helped me as well, so I don't have to keep on like remembering, okay, I have to do this topic, I have to do this topic. It always happens, something or the other, some question or the other that pops from the things that you have not read, like but there must be, if you are studying from books, then you must have at least read it somewhere, like you must know what it is. If you don't know anything about it, you must know something around it, and you can just write it down. So like that helps if you're studying from books. But if you're studying from notes that you're creating from Marrow or Prep Ladder, then see, I'm talking about the subjective point of view. If you're like, their Marrow and Prep Ladder are amazing in objective point of view, but if you're like somebody who has subjective exams in college, then it might be a problem for you. But still, I think it fetches enough marks to pass and stuff. Although I do feel like if you want to like score really well, then you have to study from, you must study from books. I feel like I in my third year I did like both. I studied from books as well as Marrow. So like that really helped me, and that really improved my concepts, especially in ENT and like Optha. That really helped me out. So I do feel like it brings a more better understanding of your concepts, but at the same time I still feel like it did me really good because I read from the books as well. I didn't just think that okay, I'll just only read my notes and I'll quit the books.